Good morning, all of you. My name is SHEFALI Raj, and I am student of Banaras Hindu University, BCom Honors and 4th semester. Me and my group presenting the topic Indian tax structure, and I will be introducing the topic shortly, and Ramita, Saurav and Shiv will be presenting us the features and drawbacks of Indian tax structure. I express my special thanks to our professor Dr. Vaibhav sir for giving us this presentation, which helped me a lot in learning new skills. This is the list of topic which I am going to explain, that is history of tax structure, Indian tax structure, stakeholders, legal compliances and grievance redressal. Now let us start with a short video.
बाबूजी जरा सुनना, अघोषित आए हैं तो संभलना। हाँ, टाइम बॉम्ब है ये, फटने से पहले इसे रोकना। बाबूजी जरा सुनना।
आपकी अघोषित आय एक खतरनाक टाइम बॉम्ब है जो कभी भी फट सकता है। इस खतरनाक धमाके से डरो। इनकम डिक्लेरेशन स्कीम 2016 के अंतर्गत अपनी अघोषित आय को ईमानदारी से 30 सितंबर तक डिक्लेयर करें। कुल 45% टैक्स भरो। प्रोसिक्यूशन, स्क्रूटनी तथा इंक्वायरी से पूरी छूट। इनकम डिक्लेरेशन स्कीम, आप करें योगदान, बढ़ाएं अपना सम्मान।
So in order to understand the previous video and these questions, you have to first learn the basics of Indian tax structure. So first, starting with the history of Indian tax structure. See, taxation in India is rooted from the period of Manusmriti and the Arthashastra. Presently, the Indian tax system is based on this ancient tax system, which has been based on the theory of maximum social welfare. Once Kalidas in Raghuvansh said to King Dilip, it was only for the good of his subject that he collected tax from them, just as the sun draws moisture for the earth to give it back 1,000-fold. Moving towards our next slide. Manusmriti is an Indian tax structure, and according to Manusmriti, the king should arrange the collection of taxes in such a manner that the taxpayer did not feel the pinch of paying taxes. He laid down that the traders and artisans should pay 1/5 of their profit in silver and gold, while the agriculturists were to pay 1/6, 1/8, or 1/10 of their produce, depending upon their circumstances. Arthashastra. This is our another ancient tax structure. Here, Arthashastra mentioned that each tax was specific and there was no scope for arbitration. Taxes collected determined the schedule of each payment and its time, manner and quality being all predetermined, and land value was fixed at 1/6 share of the produce, and import and export duties were determined on ad valorem basis, right? After understanding this, let's see the present tax structure. Here, Indian tax structure is basically called three-tier federal structure. First is central government, second state government, and third is local municipal body. Moving towards our next slide, that is types of taxes on the basis of income growth. Progressive tax and regressive tax. Progressive tax is a tax in which the tax rate increases as the taxable amount increases. For example, income tax. Whereas regressive tax is that which imposes relatively very smaller burden on those who are wealthier. Now let's see example of these two. Let us understand progressive and regressive taxes on the basis of these examples. So we have two guests. First one is Mr. Motu, who is a rich man, and his friend Mr. Patlu, who is a poor man. So Income tax is progressive in nature, and as Mr. Motu earns 50 lakhs per annum, he has to pay taxes as per law, that is 13 lakh 65,000 income tax. Whereas Mr. Patlu is so poor that he earns only 50,000 per annum, and as per income tax law, a person earning income less than 2 lakhs 50,000 in a year is exempt from paying taxes. Means Mr. Patlu is not required to pay any income tax. So from the above example, we can say that progressive tax increases as income increases. Now, if in the same example, Motu and Patlu went to eat samosas and both of them paid rupees 100. So, if we see the price breakage, that is rupees 90 plus rupees 10 GST, we can see that GST is regressive in nature as it put the equal burden on everyone irrespective of their income. Moving towards our next slide. There are two types of taxes on the basis of burden, that is direct taxes and indirect taxes. Direct tax. Now let's see what is direct tax. Direct tax is a type of tax where the incidence and impact of taxation fall on the same entity. Means in case of direct taxes, the burden can't be shifted by the taxpayer to someone else. These are largely taxes on the income or wealth, income tax, corporation tax, inheritance tax, etc. Let's move towards our next slide. These are the examples of direct taxes. First one is Income Tax Act. This is the first and the most famous example, our Income Tax Act, which is governed by Income Tax Act 1961, rules made thereunder, circulars and notifications issued by Central Board of Direct Taxes. Next is Capital Gains Tax, and another one is Gain on Sale of Capital Assets. Then Corporate Tax and Wealth Tax. Now let's move towards our next slide. Now let's see the tax structure of Income Tax Act 1961. This act imposes tax on income under the following heads, that is income from salaries, income from business and profession, income in the form of capital gains, income from house property, and lastly income from other sources. Now let's see what does a person means in terms of Income Tax Act 1961. A person includes individual, company, firm, association of persons, Hindu undivided family, body of individual, local authority, and artificial judicial person. Now, moving towards our next slide, that is stakeholders. But before that, we will be seeing a small video to understand who are the stakeholders of tax structure.
पापा याद है आपने प्रॉमिस किया था कि हम पार्क चलेंगे।
श्योर बेटा, अभी चलते हैं।
अरे फिर वही बोरिंग ट्रैफिक।
कोई नहीं, हम नए फ्लाईओवर से चलेंगे।
पापा ये फ्लाईओवर किसने बनाया है?
हमने बनाया बेटा।
आपने कैसे?
हम सरकार को टैक्स पे करते हैं और सरकार उससे फ्लाईओवर्स, स्कूल्स, हॉस्पिटल्स और बहुत कुछ बनाती है।
वाओ नाइस। पापा मेट्रो ये किसने बनाई है?
हम ही ने, टैक्स के द्वारा।
ओह, जस्ट लाइक द फ्लाईओवर्स एंड स्कूल्स।
हाँ बिल्कुल बेटा।
वाओ कितना सुंदर पार्क।
गेस करो किसने बनाया है?
क्या ये भी आपने बनाया?
ये भी हमने टैक्सेस से बनाया।
तो क्या आप टैक्स पे करते हैं?
हाँ बेटा, हर साल, वो भी टाइम से पहले।
पापा यू आर द बेस्ट।
इस महीने की 15 तारीख या उससे पहले अपने एडवांस टैक्स का भुगतान करें, आयकर में निवेश करें, देश की उन्नति में भागीदार बने।
As seen in the video, we have so many stakeholders, and the first one is Central Board of Direct Taxes, Department of Revenue, and Ministry of Finance. As you can see in the picture, she is our Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitaraman ji, and the fourth one is Income Tax Department, Income Tax Assessee, and public is also interested. Now, every financial year, a new Finance Act is introduced by CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes, and in the very first schedule of the Finance Act, the new income tax rates are introduced, which is going to be applicable for that assessment year. For individuals, income tax rate are for income up to 2.5 lakhs, nil rate of tax. For income more than 2.5 lakhs but less than 5 lakhs, you have to pay 5% tax on income above 2.5 lakhs. Similarly, for 5 to 10 lakhs, it's 20%, and above 10 lakhs, it is 30%. Now, let's move to our next slide.
स्विट्जरलैंड की ट्रिप प्लान कर रहे हो ना?
एडवांस टैक्स पे कर रहा हूँ, अभी तंग मत करो।
तुम घुसे रहो इन कागजों में। गुप्ता जी को देखो, हर साल विद फैमिली अब्रॉड ट्रिप के लिए चले जाते हैं। 4-4 गाड़ियां हैं। हाल ही में एक नया फार्म हाउस भी खरीदा। इसे कहते हैं ठाट से जीना।
मेरे पैसे।
हाय मेरे गहने।
अरे काश हमने सही टैक्स भरा होता।
ऐसी ठाट चाहिए थी।
नहीं, इस सब से तो मुझे बहुत डर लगता है।
सही टैक्स सही वक्त से भरे, बेफिक्री से जिएं और देश की उन्नति में भागीदार बने।
अब ट्रिप की बात करें।
So, we just saw the consequences of non-compliance of law. So, let's see some of the legal compliances. The first is tax compliances. Second one, every taxpayer is required to undertake certain compliances such as annual filing of return of income, report of audit under the Income Tax Act 1961, transfer pricing certificate, monthly deposition of withholding taxes, quarterly deposition of advance tax, and quarterly filing of withholding tax. Now let's see our next slide. In the video, we saw that someone fall trap to phishing. Now let's see what are the remedies available to him and grievance redressal scheme for the assessee. Initially, you can go to assessing officer and for complaints, and if not satisfied with their decision, you can go to income tax commissioner. Then after that, you can go to high court, then appellate tribunal, and the last one option available to you is Supreme Court. So everyone, this is the end of my part of explanation. Our next group members will be explaining us indirect taxes and features of Indian tax structure. Thank you everybody for watching my presentation.